welcome back. For those who are interacting with us for the first time, we are doing R. So, so far we are, we started by installation of R and RStudio, whereby we saw how we can use the R console, which simply the R GUI version. The GUI simply meaning the graphical user interface. Yeah, so we do installation of then we do the installation of RStudio, and then we started we demonstrated how we can create some variables in R console, which is almost similar to creating the variables on R scripts, basically what we are going to be today. Yeah, so as promised before, we'll be focusing on R for data science, this being the key feature or the key knowledge that we need to gain even more than. Yeah, so that's what we are going to focus on. And to start us off, we will be doing the episode 1 of season 1 of R for data science series by SeovoSolutions. If you're new to SeovoSolutions, you can check us out on all handles, almost all handles. You'll find us on Instagram, find us on at SeovoSolutions, on TikTok, the same on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Yeah, and here you are on YouTube. Also, you can find us on our website on the domain www.seovosolutions.com. Yeah, you'll be able to learn more about us. Having done the introduction to us, so if you're new here and you've not interacted with the installation part and the installation of R's console and RStudio itself, yeah, you can go back, check out our videos on that. Also, we've done another video on describing R as a calculator. Yeah. And now it's being the first episode of this series. I'd like us to do a recap of what is R. Yeah, we do the installation because there is a video for that. But just for the sake of those who have forgotten, what is R? Yeah. R is a programming language. Yeah, that is mainly designed for being our focus on data science. We describe R as a programming language designed for one, statistical computing, to we have the data analysis. We are being a component of data science. We have the data visualization, whereby we are going to combine data analysis how to get the full science of data. Yeah, we can also do machine learning in R. And also use R to do some various research. Yeah, and our research involves the collection of data and analysis of data, specifically on the quantitative side. Uh, Now R will come in. As we navigate through this series, we'll be able to see how we can achieve that. So that by the end of this series, we will have navigated from learning the basic R uh, to learning the intermediate skills in R, the data, explanatory data analysis, going to learn the general data analytics, the inferential statistics, we're going to also handle, yeah, we're also going to handle the data visualization and the related concepts. Yeah, so join with us through this series. So R is widely used with where can we use R? So from that we can simply remember that R is widely used with the cases of data scientists. Yeah. But if you want to learn data science, full stack development, data engineering, and the related, we provide the same training. Now you can contact us through the information given either on the YouTube channel or on the website so that can journey with you together as you get certified in the same. Yeah. On this, you'll be going to be learning practically. You'll be gaining the practical knowledge, practical skills, and also have some materials for reference. Doing projects together, and apart from just live sessions, we have materials for your reference. Yeah, so that's the added advantage whereby these videos cannot provide these materials for you. Yeah, so R is used for used by data scientists, it's used by statisticians, it's used by the researchers, yeah. Also it's used by economists, epidemiologists, and others. Remember R as a programming language, it's usable even in the geospatial information science, rather than GIS. In the science group, the space science, and also there are different tools that you can involve R as a programming language. So that's why here we simply focus on R for data science. We can learn R for GIS. We can learn R for other things. For now, let's focus in data science. So that's could be our recap about R. Now, as we speak about R, there is a component that we need to know for the RStudio. Okay. If these concepts are new to you, just go back to a video that we did about R and RStudio solutions. So you get to know all these differences and how to build the solutions step by step. Yeah. Now R is simply, or rather RStudio. R we said is a programming language, and we stated their uses, its use, and the users. Now, focusing on RStudio, RStudio is simply a platform. Rather, it's like, for example, if you say R, if you picture out R being an engine, or the engine, yeah, of maybe let's say R's now in this case, with a car. The data science with R is now our main focus, our object. R, we can say that R is the engine, but now a combination of now RStudio Now a combination of all these the steering wheel and now the dashboard and all. So this simply means that we cannot have RStudio working without R. Yeah. Like you cannot drive. I know that this modernized vehicles that maybe someone could be renting, the ones that do not need an engine, but you can not have a car without an engine generally. Yeah, so similarly here, we cannot have RStudio without R. Yeah, so now in proper definition, we will say RStudio is simply the integrated development environment now for R. Yeah. So what maybe someone could say IDE, which simply is a software application that helps in the provision of tools that now help the programmers, this is the R programmers, how to be able to write their codes, run the codes, and even debug if there is any issue within the code. Yeah, so with me here is now a platform, but that is now RStudio. Yeah. Remember, you can still go back, learn more about art and RStudio. And I'll say it's some of the first few videos we've done in relation to R for data science. So this RStudio, what we will be able to get from now this RStudio, you can see now we have the R version, R itself, R console is looks like this. So this is a symbol, or rather this is the graphical interface that you can see symbolizing the exact R, and then its version is here. Yeah, and then the entire section here is now the RStudio. And now looking at this, we have 4 subsections now when it comes to RStudio. Yeah. So we have the first subsection. If you look at here, it's written R script. Yeah. So the first subsection of RStudio is the one for R scripts. Yeah. So this will provide a script editor that it will be usable in the editing of any script. Script involves even the code that you need. The different types we are going to see. Look at them as we navigate. Yeah, so apart from this script editor here, down here, now we have another subsection for console, R console. And now this is similar version, like the one that we download at first before we download RStudio. Yeah, let's go back and learn how it can be usable. And what we can do with the same version is the exact thing that we can do here. Yeah, for example, let me give an example before we proceed. Okay, I'll give an example that will be involving all this, the R console, the environment, and this other side at the end of this explanation. So here, if you look at this place, you have the environment. For the function of this environment, whatever you've done here, the task that you've done, or the job that you've done in R, we created variables, we created some subsets of data, some data set, and so on. So all these variable names and yeah, all these variables will be visible here. Yeah, so you will be able to see them being visible as we simply do maybe an example. Have some history, you can see what was done last. Like for this, you can see what happened. There was some data being analyzed previously. There are some installations of packages here. Yeah, you can see all this. So history. So this will give you the historical bit of that, simply what was done last. You'll be able to see here. You can see there are some analysis of variance. You simply biochemical data. Yeah, where you can see what happened or what done here. Yeah. You can see if you double click, it goes back to console. You can see this goes back to console. For example, you see it going back to console. Display. If you double click. So you simply you can you wanna maybe have all these. Okay. Yeah, we'll be able to maybe copy and paste them respectively. Yeah. So that's about history. There is also some connections. Connection simply means really what has been connected to this. So you can add a new connection, create new connection, maybe. Yeah. If you have something that you need to connect here, then you can have some tutorial here to guide you a little bit. Yeah. If you go to the last subsection here now, the last subsection here now involves the subsection where you can see the tutorial and shiny package, have all this land R package that on the RStudio together. Yeah, so you'll be able to learn that or see that. If we go to the last bit here, subsection here, we see the first part is both files. So this one shows all the files that maybe you have and their location. Yeah, you cannot even any folder from here. You'll see home, you'll go back home, we have this, have the our data, have the some history, I have some of the project I did with the Anaconda. Yeah, some of the analysis document. I have some of the research I've done. I will have them, all of them here. Yeah, even the IPN have the SPSS here and many others. The slides, the pictures, videos, and so on. We have all the files here. Then here on the plots here, when you plot some data, like in this case, either here or maybe simply mainly from here. When you plot some data from console, instead of that graph appearing here, like on the R GUI, it will appear here. Yeah, so you write your data here, or rather your variable here you run, then you will see it here. Yeah, we'll see an example. Then you have the subsection where you can install all the packages. Yeah, and then if you need any help, you can simply find it here, searching keywords, packages, and so on. Then have a subsection for viewer, then for presentation. Yeah, so that is how it works. RStudio. Now, just demonstrate a little bit before we focus now up here. Remember, like I said earlier in the previous videos, that our key focus will simply be using R script. Yeah, the R script subsection. This one here. So before we embark here, let's try out something here. So maybe before we try it, inside the R script, we'll have some things, some details like Markdown, HTML files, and so on. Yeah, this section. So it doesn't mean that we are only going to have one maybe part as big. We're going to have all this. Like if we have our script, you can have our Markdown there, it will be displayed there, have the R notebook, and many others. Yeah. So we will be able to tell more when we start that part. Now, let's try out something here. Let's try out something here. For example, just a recap. Remember, we are just building on the very first episode now. Assuming someone has R and we haven't received. So here, I'm going to give an example like the variables. I have variable X, have variable X. That's how we assign, remember the previous video, how we assign variables. X also several values. So I'm going to assign variables or the values. You can say 2, 4, 6, 8, that. So I have this as variable. So if I wanna see it, if I wanna see what is the X, I'll simply call it X, and then I'll be able to see the values. That's it. Similarly, an example of Y array. Having the values like, see, we say it has 1, 3, 5, 7, 11. And let's say 13. So just confirm if they are equal. So the first one we have 6 values. Second one we have 6. Yeah, it's different. So and we wanna call it again, we find that. Yeah. So that's it. Maybe you wanna plot and have a scatter plot of X and Y. How are we able to plot that? I remember in the last video I didn't give an example plot, but this is how you can give on console. So if it's a scatter plot, there are different types of plots where we will be learning about one by one later. But now, assuming that it's a scatter plot in R is given by simply using the word plot. So if you say plot, then you have X, Y. Yeah, we will see how we will be adding titles and so on. So we simply need to plot X and Y. Just a simple scatter plot. Simply write it down. You can see you have it here. Now you know what the use of this plots. Simply displays the plots that have been will be called here. So that's about a recap of what we wanted. So now we proceed with episode 1. You can go back and check the video on R as a calculator. You'll be able to learn more. That, for example, if you want to do mean for X, you can simply write mean X average. When I know the median or the median, maybe Y, be able to see. You know why it's 6? Yeah, whether 6 is not here. Yeah, whereby mathematically or rather manually, we count this if the total number count is even, then we find the two mid numbers. For example, here we have 6 numbers. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we pick these two, then do an average of that, where it will be 5 plus 7, then divided by 2. So you get the median, or the median as 6. Yeah, so that's why we have that. Yeah, you can see even, you can check even the mod for X. You can see, just follows the everything. Yeah, we'll be able to see what, so this one actually tells me the type of data. What type of variable is X? What type of data do we need? Yeah, so it tells you numeric, where it's simply giving the numbers. Yeah, so that's, well, yes. So now let's go ahead and proceed with R Markdown. So in R Markdown, we are going to learn a few things. Now, simply in R, before we go to the Markdown, in R, if you like to write, if you like, okay, you can implement this even couple of it. If you like to write heading 1, okay, headings, for example, the first heading, the main heading, we call it heading 1. The subheading under heading 1, we call it heading 2. We have others under heading 2, called heading 3, up to heading 6. Yeah, so also the same is applied in HTML and even the Word. If you open the Word document, you'll be able to see title 1 up to title 6. Yeah. So how are we going to, how can we represent title 1, for the heading 1 in R? For example, heading 1. So let me just use this RStudio. Heading 1, I will simply use this. For this demo set heading 1. Yeah. Only one hash. Then for heading 2, there will be two. For this demonstrates heading two. Yeah. Similarly, heading 3 will be this heading 3. Yeah. So that's about headings. Yeah. So this is how we can comment headings and all. And if you like to bold the text, for example, you like to bold the text, let me just write it inside the RStudio before now we embark on the exact file we need to open. Bold, you simply use this. So there are two asterisks, and then you write the maybe you bold the text, and then you end with that also. So this is how you can ensure that your text is bolded. Yeah. What about italic? If you like to write an italic text, now here in R, you will simply use a single asterisk. So this gives you an italic text. Okay. So that's it. And maybe someone else could be looking at how can we list items. Okay, listing can be used different methods. For example, you can use this list of item 1. You can have a list of item 2, item 3, and so on. Yeah. So what we call it the bullet list or an ordered list. Yeah. If you those who might be interested in learning full stack development, if we interact with HTML and the others, will be able to learn all these types of lists, the nested list and many others. So you can have this form of an ordered list. Someone else can use bullets also. For ordered, someone can use these. Like this item 1, this item 2, as we move item 3 and then yeah. So that's what you can expect even as we go to R Markdown. Yeah, so this is how we are going with some of the knowledge that we are going to apply there. Yeah, if you like to bold, first heading, next heading to be bolded. Going to use this heading 2. Here's a subheading of heading 1. Heading 3 will have 3. I forgot one here. Heading 3 will have 3 hashtags here. Yeah. So having that knowledge, let's now open R Markdown. To open, this simply adds to it that you are simply you can save from here. So and we save it on desktop and then say the add script one. We just use this. Yeah, that will be about what here. Yeah, you can see errors because I'm not on Markdown file. So here, if you need to comment, you simply everything must start by this one. everything must start by to show it's a comment. Otherwise, it will be interpreted as a code. But on R Markdown, we will be using them as what we've done exactly. So now let's open an Markdown file. Go to Files, and then go to New File, then select R Markdown. Then here, will give you a chance to write the details. For example, what's the title? Yeah, what's the title of this file? What title can we give it? Yeah. So this one we can say this is R for data science. For data science. Let me see. It's a season 1. This is the title that we have. Author. So author, then you say SeovoSolutions. So for example, if you've been given a test or that you're doing a project, you write the title of that project here, and then the author, you can write your name or the name of your institution. If you're doing through an institution, you just been tasked to do on behalf of an institution, you can use that institution, or you can just use maybe your numbers. Then the date you can, by default, it takes in the current date. For example, it takes in the current date. But you can adjust your date. You can say it's on 7. Yeah. You can change this date. Or if you like to be using the current date, you simply click it. Simply be auto updating the date. Rather using this date over and over again. But if you don't want, you uncheck. So now in the document R Markdown document format, you have the HTML. HTML index is a file that you can open in a browser. Yeah. You can also use PDF, or you can also use Word. Yeah. So you can either choose any of these. But also I'll be able to show you how we can change. For example, when you chose the wrong one, you like to change the format now while doing the project, other than coming back to this. I will show you. So let's choose one, for example, this case. Let it open. So this is what we have. This is what we have. We have one here. You need it from a HTML, just come here. Just change Word to HTML. Yeah. If you need in form of PDF, just change here. Use PDF. So this is the output version. You'll be able to see what now these parts. Yeah. So this is now the output version. This is the output version that we can simply consider. So let's go back to Word. this that you can see the one that we simply maybe edited is what appears here. The title remains to be this. So before we start doing our own, maybe let's start by trying out this code. So just to give an overview, to produce a document, we'll be knitting. Yeah. Or we can be knitting on cell, whereby if you save, it will automatically knit. It will be clicking here, knit, to produce this document. So you do not need to copy and paste the course that you've done here, because all of them, we simply need to work around adjusting this so that we know what will be appearing in the document, what want to be appearing there. Yeah. For example, here, remember I said the title. So this one here, this defines, this means that this title, rather the level subheading 2, rather the level 2 heading. Yeah. If you have one, let me just use, add something to just this one. And let me write, let me just write section 1, episode 1, part 1. Yeah. So do you have this as the main title? So this will be heading 1, heading 2. Also, we have another heading 2 here. So before we edit, by doing anything here, we will be able to run all this. Let's try. So, these are the default code. So if this from this plus to this plus, what's given here with this, we call it a code chunk. Yeah, we call it a chunk with the experiment. So this is what we call a chunk. So we'll be writing our codes here inside this opening and closing. So that's different from what we were doing down here. Remember? That's different from what we were doing here. Just writing directly. Here, we'll be writing within these chunks. Here. So we have different sets of data already defined in the system. Yeah. So like we have a package called cars, like cars that we have a lot of things here. And then, so this one has demonstrated how you can explain what we've done. For example, in this case, this one explains. So the difference between this one and this other one, console, is that when adding comments and explanations in console here, you need to use this one. Maybe to add a comment to your code. So to add an explanation or to label, you need to use, you must use hashtag when using console. Otherwise, it will be interpreted as a code. Now, when it comes to this one here, the Markdown format, if you write anything outside here, for example, like we did here, it will be interpreted as just an explanation, but not a code. So for you to ensure that what you're writing, the code you're writing is interpreted as a code, you need to have it inside these chunks. Yeah. So for example, if I need to write this, I write it inside this chunk. So I'm not demonstrating it now because I'm going to demonstrate it under episode 1, part 3. Yeah, so this episode is slightly longer because it has some recap of those who, for the sake of those who might not have interacted with the previous interviews. Yeah, and even we have this explanation. When you click the next button, the form will be generated that includes what content as well as the output. Now, to run the codes independently, you can run chunk by chunk, whereby you use this to run if it is for this chunk alone. Then you use this one here to run for all chunks. For example, I can click here. Then see, you'll be able to see if it's running from here. Let me demonstrate another one. Summary tiles. Yeah, you see, you can see what is reflected here also. So whatever is being done here, so like it will be giving you a code that you wouldn't have used when using console automatically. Yeah. So summary of course shows the mean, the first quartile, the third quartile, the median, and the maximum. Maximum also the minimum data. So we'll be getting to know all this. So this simply gives you summary statistics. But if you have some data, you need to check, you need a code that will give you the summary, the minimum value, maximum value, the first quartile, third quartile, and the median at once. You simply use summary. This one summarizes, gives you all this. Yeah, so from this information, you can realize that these data tags, all tags, so it's actually the inbuilt data within R. It has data on speed and distance. So it has separated speed itself and distance. Yeah. They will be able to know another thing how can we do. So if you wanna do a plot also. So I love yeah, let me just run this first. The plot. That is a scatter plot. Remember, scatter plot, we use plot. Later on, we'll be using things like ggplot to dot. We'll be installing that as we proceed. So, what we expect as we are going to produce the document is all this. Yeah. So this is a demonstration of running every chunk on itself. But what if you done everything and you want to run all the chunks? Simply click to run. Yeah, and then if maybe you now in this case, if your pointer is already on chunk 1, you simply click, then select run current chunk. Yeah. Also, you can run all chunks below, or all chunks above. Yeah. Or you can select, you highlight, and then you run the selected data. So maybe let me run this. It will run everything. Then you will see can do. You can select the replication. So now the difference you can see now here, have this plot is within the document. Yeah. As compared to the previous one where you saw the plot here. Yeah, or maybe let me just run. Yeah, you can see it is that yes, we are and not full. Yeah, so we will see. Now let's produce this in form of Word document. To produce it, just click it, and then it will give you a chance to give maybe a file name. So let me just give it file example one. So you save. So you save. After you save, it will render. So everything, you see everything being done to whatever is being given will be here. Then this processing file for this name. Then the output will have this name. And it will be a markdown file in form of what document. Yeah, so that explains how we will be doing. So after it's done, we'll simply open on its side. Yeah. So that's what I wanted us to learn in part 1. Inside part 2, we are now going to write our own codes inside this chance as we proceed. So let me just show you what the output that has come. Just show you the output. Yeah, we have this output now. The title. Yeah. Continue what? The title. Then if you click here, this is actually your heading 1. See your heading 2. Yeah. Then you have the codes that you allow. And then you have the plots. Can see the only explanation that was given is there. Everything. So this is the easiest way that you can write your codes as you explain inside the same inside RStudio, that the output will be a complete document ready for submission. So you do not need to just run. So like here, you can see the code that was used and then the output. Same. Yeah. So let me go back to this class. Yeah. Just to explain how it works. You can see include equals to false. So that's why this part has not been included, this part. Yeah. And then here, this one, it is just open. So it will be included, even the code. Then you have the echo equals to false. You can read echo equals to false means that the code chunk parameter was added to the code chunk to prevent printing the R code. So in this case, echo equals to false means that you're going to get the results, but the code won't be printed. Yeah. If come back here, it was just normal. So it printed both the code and the results. But if you, I'm just going back to this place, you will see that this code wasn't printed. So if you like it to be also be printed on the document, you need to remove this part equal to code so that you allow this code here to be printed. Then this part, include equals to false, simply means that everything under this won't be, or everything within this, whether you have the output or even the code won't be included at all. So remember 3 things as we end this session. 1, include equals to false. This ensures that both the output and the code are not included in the output document. If we leave it open, both the code and the output will be included. If we use echo equals to false, the output will be included, but the code will be avoided once we included there. Yeah. So that gives us this output. It says this output here. can see both the code and the output was included. Up here, neither the code or the output was included. Of course, we do not have the output for that, just for setting up. And then here, we have no code. You can see there's no code, but we have the output. Yeah. That's all for part one. See you in episode 1, part 2.